Arduino Uno belongs to a family of low-cost microcontroller. It's an open source software, and it has also open source hardware. You have a free programming environment. And in the Arduino Uno, pin 5, as well as other pins, generate PWM at 1 kilohertz using function analog write. So you write a program or a sketch, and you output to pin 5 a value using the appropriate function, and then you get a duty cycle at a 1 kilohertz frequency. So here's the circuit. I have here the Arduino Uno, and then I have a base resistance here, and coming out from Arduino Uno is the pulse width modulation duty cycle, and then I have the motor here, and then I have to use a common ground between the power supply of the motor and the Arduino Uno. And what is important here to remember is that pin 5 generates a 1 kilohertz pulse width modulation signal. Okay, and so it's very simple. And here's the experimental setup. I have the Arduino Uno, the liquid crystal display, which I use to see what are the values of the pulse width modulation. And here's a circuit which is very simple, and it's mainly the power circuit for the motor. Okay, here's the entire experimental set. In addition, we have the tachometer, which is Arduino Uno based also, and here's the oscilloscope. Okay, here's a basic program, a sketch as called in Arduino Jargon, and I use a liquid crystal display, and I use the library, which is very easy to download. And there's also in the Arduino, there's always two main routines: the setup and then the loop. And what I'm doing here is I am generating a downward stepping iteration. I start at approximately 100% duty cycle. 100% duty cycle is obtained by using the analog write function for pin 5 with a value of PWM. And PWM here, it starts with 255, which corresponds to 100% duty cycle, and I lower it down to around 127, because lower than that, the motor, the friction of the motor and the dynamics of the motor, it stops running, it stops turning. So here's the upward stepping operation, and I change speeds every 15 seconds. Okay, so the main routine here is the analog write. This is the pin number, and this is the value of the PWM, which goes from 0 to 255. And this delay function is just to wait. And while I wait here, the pin 5 will keep sending out pulse width modulation signal. And the other routines here are to write the value of the PWM to the liquid crystal display and display it. So it will repeat this loop infinitely. Okay, this is what I get using the Arduino Uno. The pulse width modulation which is what I set with my program, and this is what I measure with my tachometer, and I get this curve. And as I told you, below 50%, I do not get cannot get the motor running, and it reaches up to 100%. And this is, it's not again, it's not linear. Okay, thank you very much, and I hope that's been useful for you.